It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
Welcome to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 187 today. Really glad that you're with us to enjoy clothes-free living for all of the right reasons for the next hour. We have a whole bunch coming up on today's show. A little bit later, part 2 of my interview with BORIS NATURI from New Zealand. He's an author, a blogger, a podcaster. He does it all. A tremendous content creator in the world of naturism. So part 2 with BORIS NATURI. Of course, Lisa Monroe will come up in just a few moments. We have a bevy of topics to cover with her. So come on in. The pool is feeling like $1,000,000. The hot tub is going full bore. And if you get to the grill, guess who's running the grill today? And it's going full blast as well. Karen Lisa Sieber. She was on the show before. She's part of the Pine Tree Associates Nudist Club, Naturist Club in Maryland. Flew in last night to operate the grill today, so we're going to enjoy a great meal after today's show. Fruits and vegetables off to the right, cold drinks off to the left, hot drinks inside, a hammock, a reading library, bocce ball. Even putting greens are outside the pool area. Our cigar bar is back inside the pool area. We have extra towels, extra lotion, extra chairs. Just come on in. Enjoy clothes-free living for all of the right reasons with us for the next hour. I think I hear some music that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our very own naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one and only, the one of a kind, the completely clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing very, very well. It's been like a few days of nakedness and sun, and I'm a happy camper.
Well, la-di-da to you.
La-di-da. Okay.
Because while you were basking in the sun and taking it all in, I was working my backside off in my yard, and nobody will have any sympathy for this outside of Florida. We had a lot of plants and bushes and trees and whatever killed this past winter when we had that cold spell. That's why we won't get any sympathy.
Yes.
You got 20 degrees below zero in northern Wisconsin and Minnesota, and we're complaining about 10 degrees. No sympathy. But that means you have to chop it down, chop it up, put it in the right storage bins. And so, because I have neighbors and because I'm going back and front to the sides of the house, the front of the house, I had to wear clothes.
I am so sorry for
to you. That's how I say it.
I am so sorry.
I don't think you are because you're laughing.
No, actually, I am sorry because I hate to see those beautiful plants, kind of succumb to Jack Frost. It's not good because they were gorgeous. But, yeah, I would have helped. You didn't ask.
You're sorry the plants died, but you're not sorry that I got very little naked time since the last show?
Well, I think it's really terrible, but, you could have taken 15, 20 minutes here or there and enjoyed being naked. So, but maybe not in the front yard. I grant you.
I assumed, perhaps wrongly, that you are my best friend around here.
I don't think that's
looking
wrong.
better and better all the time. Well,
I think that's very true.
All right, well.
They'll be that way.
Hoping for a little sympathy. I got none.
I'm very sorry that you didn't get a lot of naked time in.
Okay.
That's not a good thing. And so does that make you feel better?
Nope, because it came after the fact, only after you were chastised. So it has no meaning anyway. We have a lot to do today, so let's get to it. Everybody knows we have a Patreon page. We appreciate your support more than we can convey in words. and we try to do as much for you in return as possible, giving you free goodies, giving you, depending on the level you're on, you might get our special content, our newsletter. Everybody gets that who signs up. And of course, a video of interviews, video of the two of us, Lisa Monroe. And on every show, we highlight two people who have recently joined the PPPs, the Paying Patreon Peeps. Who do we have today?
We have Stephen and David, and we appreciate both of them very much and welcome aboard.
Yes, very much so. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, David, and anybody else who wants to join in the frivolity and the hijinks and hilarity here in our Patreon page. The link is in the show notes, right at the top of the show notes. Every single show, click on it, and Patreon will guide you from there. And again, we appreciate you very much. How about merchandise? Lisa Monroe, that's your bailiwick. What's going on there?
Well, it's getting summer in this northern hemisphere, so there's towels and tote bags and water bottles and mugs and all kinds of goodies to take to the beach with you or to the pool or wherever you're going. And for those of you, unfortunately, who are facing winter in the southern hemisphere, there are long sleeve shirts, there are hoodies, there's merchandise like that to keep you warm while you're running between places you can be naked.
Wow, you've been a busy little bee in the merchandise department.
Yes, I have. And I appreciate everyone who's been buying it. You guys are great, and I hope you're enjoying everything that you get. And send pictures if you get a hoodie or we have little toboggans that were like big hits this past winter, and there we have a little phone case kind of thing, and let me see, I can't say fanny pack, what do they call them? Crossbody bag, I believe is what I'm supposed to call them. So a lot of things that will really, kind of help you out when you're naked and you need a place to put something.
All right, you can still say fanny pack. That has a different meaning apparently in Great Britain and some other places, but they understand where we're coming from now, so it's okay.
Okay, I know, but you know what? Society is now trying to call them cross body bags because heaven forbid that word would not be used because, anything about the body cannot be said.
Don't get me started. We have too many other things to do here.
No,
how do people find our merchandise page?
They go to nakednudistandnaturist.com, click on NNN shop, and everything's there for you to browse and, just pick out something you like.
All right. Well, we have a big announcement right now. Now, a lot of our listeners call us the voice of naturism. And I can see why they do that. Some are joking and some are serious because we come at you twice a week. You don't get that anywhere else. Nobody comes at you for roughly 2 hours a week with brand new content. It just doesn't happen in this world. We do. So we have some influence in the world of naturism because we're very consistent. We like to think, anyway, that we're mature adults. Off air, maybe not so much, but on the air, we try to be. And we're professional. We give you a very good show. Well, Lisa Monroe, apparently we're the voice of a whole lot more than just naturism, because who is the vocalist, singer-songwriter that I've been praising over the last few shows or a couple shows ago is a lady. Remember her name?
Yes, I do. It's Sade.
Uh-huh. And it was just announced recently. And I'm thinking, based upon us promoting her.
Yes, because I'm a huge fan.
Exactly. And she's going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's part of the next class to be inducted. News just announced after we promoted her. So I think we ought to take full credit for that. What do you think?
I think we should. I mean, I actually never expected Sade to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, nor did I expect Dolly Parton to be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm glad she is. So this is really great news because Sade needs this recognition because she's an incredible performer.
Yeah. We could go on forever about that. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You got a lot of people who are not rockers, but you also have some rockers who should be in or are not in. We'll save that for another day.
Yes.
But the important point is we promote Sade.
Yes.
She gets in the Hall of Fame before you know it. So we're obviously just kidding. I don't want anybody to think, wow, they think highly of themselves. No, we're just playing around here. So we're going to hang on to the Hall of Fame.
Yes. We know we have some things to say, but I don't think that we're the all-knowing about everything. And so certainly it's just great that coincidence that it happened this the same time, but a really great news for her.
Yeah, there's no truth to the rumor that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said, well, we need one more person. Who should we put on? And somebody in the background said, well, that Naked Nudist and Naturist show has been pushing Sade. What do you think? Took a quick vote. She's in.
Yep.
No truth to that rumor at all, as far as we know.
No, you know how rumors are, but no,
Okay.
not at all.
All right. Let's move along. We want to promote again the Tim Chizmar movie coming out this Tuesday. Naked as created, the Pastor Jim story. You'll get that on Amazon. You can also order the DVD, so you can stream it or get the DVD. And I have been mispronouncing Mudwalker. I've been calling him Christopher Mitchell. That is not correct, Lisa Monroe. I've totally blown it. It's Christopher Michelli.
Oh,
the print was a little small. I didn't make it bigger. It's my own fault.
Yes, I knew that something didn't sound right, but I could not place it because I only think of him as Chris the Mudwalker. So,
exactly.
So we stand corrected, and we will definitely use the correct name.
Yes. Kate Lane, Dan Hawkins, Tim is in his own movie, Melody Munson, that we mentioned, Cindy and Jeff Tendick, Cynthia Holbach from the Naturist Society Foundation, and I probably missed a few, and if I did, sorry about that, but I wanted to get Christopher's correct name out there, and Dan Hawkins is actually the one who wrote to me and said, hey, just so you know. What?
Good for Dan.
I looked it up, and sure enough, So we take responsibility when we make a mistake around here. It's just how life works.
Yes.
Well, we have a brand new song here, and it's brand new to us. Another song of Rick Dorsiak we missed. See, Rick doesn't, as I mentioned before, he didn't say, hey, I got a new song. Can you put it on? Can you put it on? Hey, what about me? What about me? No, he never says a word. He literally never asks us to do anything.
Yeah, Rick's
so as
amazing.
I'm going through, YouTube and firing things up, something will pop up from Rick. I thought, oh, a new song. Well, this one I missed. It's a few months old, but this one's called Body Positive, Bold and Free. And I'll just read the beginning here. We ain't shy, we ain't rude, we just like life in the nude. No shame here, no disguise. We're the truth with nothing to hide. If you don't mind, you want to read that first verse? We won't read the whole thing because it's lengthy in terms of lyrics, but we will play the song. Verse 1. You want to take that one?
Shed the stress, drop the doubt, leave your clothes and worries out. On the beach or in my home, freedom's real, and naked we roam. Sun on skin, breeze so sweet, dancing barefoot in the heat. Body proud, spirit free, this is what it means to be.
All right, lots of great lyrics, and let's just go ahead and play this and let the lyrics speak for themselves during the song. Written by Rick Dorsiak, he's calling it the official anthem of Kick-Ass Nudists. Body positive, bold, and free.
We ain't shy, we ain't rude, we just like life in the nude. No shame here, no disguise, we're the truth with nothing to hide. Shed the stress, drop the doubt, leave your clothes and worries out. On this beach or in my home, freedom's real and naked we roam. Sun on skin, breeze so sweet, grace. The world is better when we embrace. We're kick-ass nudists. Hear our song. Been here all along. We're not afraid. We won't retreat. Nudism's more than skin and soul complete. We're kick-ass nudists, and this we know. Let the winds of freedom blow. Clothes off, love on, sun high. Let's go.
Well, that was Rick Dorsiak and Lisa Monroe. It seems like no matter what he touches, it turns to gold. Another great song by Rick Dorsiak. Any thoughts on Rick Dorsiak or on the song that we just played by Rick Dorsiak?
The lyrics here, as they always do, just really touch on the heart of naturism. I mean, he gets it, and he is able to put those words into poetry that translate into lyrics that make songs that, as I said, I think the last time we played a song of his, he's becoming the, playlist of any party or anything else you want to have, because he's going to have enough music you can go for 2 or 3 hours and play only his music. So I think it's great. Good for Rick, and great songs.
And we thank Rick Dorsiak very much. Another great tune. The link is in the show notes to his website. You can go from there and play it over and over in the comfort of your own home or at the beach or while you're driving around. I want to turn now to AANR for a little bit, the membership numbers. We've been putting this out there, and we have some information here, and we're really careful when we put information out. We double check, we triple check, we quadruple check, but we also leave room for the fact, maybe we're wrong. And if we are, we need to be corrected. But during my interview with the current president, which aired, I believe, in February, at 169, 171, she confirmed what she put up on the board at the winter meeting, which was also held in February in Florida. And she said new members had gone up 2,405 new members, to which I thought, well, that is great and fantastic. Why have we not been hearing about this? That should be shouted from the mountaintops. And my first notice of that was at the meeting when she put up the spreadsheet on the board behind her. I thought, man, that is fantastic. That was one of her goals coming in, increase the membership. Well, we have some information that has been given to us and provided, and it's information that's easily found. This isn't some under-the-table thing at 2 in the morning, here, I'll sneak this to you. No, it's fairly well known what's out there, but you have to look for it. And if you accepted 2,405 new members, apparently that's not correct as far as the whole total goes. Now, maybe we did get 2,405 members, but the overall total of the membership of AANR is less now than when the current president took over. Let me give you the numbers here. And again, if we are wrong, we will invite the president to send us a note, and we'll gladly read it and correct the record. But we have found that at the end of 2024, so Weber took office in August of 24, had very little to do with membership then. You just don't. You're too new to have any real effect. End of 2024, the membership was 25,384. I know it's hard to remember numbers, but 25,384. A year later, now she's had a full year and almost a year and a half. Now you have influence. The number is 24,875. So 25,384 down to 24,875. That's a loss of 509 total members. So if you really did get 2,405 new folks, that means you lost 2,405 plus another 509. You lost almost 3,000. So, did the president intentionally lie? I don't know. Did she intentionally mislead the leadership, the membership, the trustees, other elected officers? I don't know. Was she misinformed? Was she given wrong information? I don't know. But none of those scenarios are good. When you're the leader of an organization, you cannot be wrong on important information like this. And so I don't know. I don't know the answer. We are not casting any aspersions. We are merely correcting the record. She said on our show, 2,405 new members. And I think she even had the membership at 27,000 plus.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of 25, it was under 25,000. A loss of 509 since the end of 2024. Lisa Monroe, your thoughts?
Well, it's kind of hard to even argue with numbers. I mean, it's either this number or it isn't, and these are, from what we understand, very accurate numbers of where the membership was at the end of both years. So numbers can let you say anything you want to, but the fact is that sometimes what you say is not correct, and so you need context. You need someone to be honest, because if there is an issue that AANR is still losing members, something needs to be done. And apparently, whatever is happening currently is not working. And this is too vital an organization to have it just start to fade away 500 members at a time. It's just not going to work.
Yeah. So if there is a correction to be made from the current AANR president, send us a note and we'll read it on the show. But again, we're only passing along what we were given, and we were told that this information is readily available through the website. We've not double-checked the website. So it's not numbers under the table, as I mentioned. So a loss of over 500 people since Weber took office, and she was saying, hey, baby, we got over 2,400. That's a big problem. That's a big problem, and hopefully it'll be corrected soon.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We got a note on this. Now we're going to get into something else from Ed Don Patrice from Arizona. I don't know them. I don't know the relationships. Is that mother, father, son? I have no idea. Lisa, do you mind, if you don't mind, read that letter?
I don't mind. The question is, do we need a complete change in AANR leadership? What the blank is going on here? Nothing is happening to move it forward. The president promised major changes, but she has done nothing. When is she up for re-election, and is anyone else running for president? Enough is enough. And unfortunately, we've gotten more than one of those types of letters here because we've kind of stirred up some concern and some questions by people who listen because of these issues. We need the truth. That's all anyone wants. If the truth is that it fell, then fine. But what do we do about it? But don't not tell the truth.
Okay. If you don't mind, from episode 47, that's when we had Linda Weber on, we had Tim Mullins on, both running for AANR president in 2024. Episode 47, way back, I think May 18th of 2024. She said the following, about becoming president. Can you quickly read those two statements?
I sure will. Quote, I thought very long and hard on this because I thought, wow, I'm moving up to the big chair. I've been a member for 5 years, and of those 5 years, I was on AANR West board as a director. So I have regional experience, but I realize that not only am I a director, but I'm a member. So I have the perspective of both.
Okay, to recap, because we're going to move this along here, her experience prior to becoming president was she's a member of AANR. She had been a member for 5 years. She was a director with AANR West, and I did the math. There are 7 regions, 7 directors. For each region, that's 49. So she was one of 49 people and a member. And she told me, I don't remember if it was in a show or email or whatever, her prior experience in leadership was she was a leader of a sales team and also an HOA president. So sales team leader, HOA president, director for AANR West for I don't know how long. It wasn't all 5 years. And she's a member of AANR. Well, most of us are. Somebody else is running for president, Joe Rives. He is the current president for AANR Florida, and I'll just quickly read his qualifications as was sent to us. An experienced nonprofit leader, twice president of the National Association of Branch Campus Administrators, a $240 million budget every year. He does have his doctorate. two times president, Illinois Association of Institutional Research. He is currently a school board president, executive committee of the Illinois Innovation Network, respected and trusted leader. He was named AANR Man of the Year just last year, Lisa Monroe. Illinois, Iowa Quad Cities Man of the Year 2015 and College Hall of Fame Award 2015. So you have a choice. You have somebody with all those qualifications. You have somebody who was a sales team leader, HOA president, director, and a member. Well, Joe's a member too. And then we have this issue with the numbers. Now, that can undo a presidency overnight. If it turns out she put out false information on purpose, or even if it was accidental, you can't do that. And that could undo a lot of things. We're putting it out there for edification. And if the current president wishes to respond, we will certainly read her letter that would correct the record that we put out. Lisa Monroe, with that, we are going to have to head for the hills. If you promise to stay naked as a jaybird, we'll get together at the end of the show. How about that?
That sounds good, and I promise, as always.
All right, we'll see you then. The very terrific Lisa Monroe as she goes dancing / hip-hopping her way out of the studio today. She does a whole bunch around here, as you know, and we appreciate Lisa Monroe very much. Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 187 today. Hope you're enjoying clothes-free living for all of the right reasons during the show and throughout the day and throughout the evening. Let's get to part two now of my interview with Boris Naturi, blogger, podcaster, author from New Zealand. He gets it. He knows what it's all about. Highly respected around here. Part two with Boris Naturi. What, in your mind, in your view, experience in New Zealand, what, in terms of, I guess, ranking, in terms of order, what is naturism like? And I'm thinking mostly about beaches, about resorts, about home nudists. What do you see the most, and how is everything working in terms of if somebody's a naturist, they do this or they do that?
That's actually a really hard question at the moment, Frank, because naturism is a classification that a lot of people don't actually want to adopt. They just want to be, and they don't want to put a label on it. They just like wearing no clothes. They'll go to the beach. They won't be a member of a club. There are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people who are in that avenue. Perhaps people who haven't come out and with their friends and family and said, hey, I'm a naturist, put their hand up. Maybe they're scared of persecution by their employers or what have you. This weekend, I spoke to two teachers who don't want the community at large to know because they don't want to be given problems through the schools, etc. But, there is a great community of naturists, and this weekend has been a reflection of that because, 5-6 people who I know were actually at the same camp at the same time. And, it was a great catch-up session with all of those people. So they're all in it for the same thing, just to enjoy the freedom that they have.
Yeah. I've noticed a trend, and I'll put it at the 40-year-olds and under crowd, could be 35 and under, I'm not sure, just in general, a trend with, you mentioned labels. They don't say I'm a nudist. They don't say I'm a naturist, but they take their clothes off when they feel it's appropriate or when they want to. And I've had a couple of guests on this show. We won't identify them here, but we expect people to come on this show like yourself, nude. I mean, we're a naturist show. We live clothes free. We work clothes free. So why would we have 3-piece suits and evening gowns on for an interview on a naturist show? However, we put it out there, if you're not comfortable being nude, then go ahead and wear clothes, and I'll wear clothes too. And we've had a few of those. Well, a couple in particular, they said, no, I'm going to have clothes on. You can be nude, Frank. If you want to, that's fine. I had no problem with that whatsoever, but I'll have clothes on. I thought, well, that is odd. I didn't tell them that, but to myself, I thought, you're a nudist naturist. You're coming on a naturist show and you're going to have clothes on. Doesn't make any sense. And so I asked these two people separately and individually, Well, what the heck is going on with that? And this was not part of the interview. It was, either before or after. And both gave the same answer. They said, I don't consider myself a nudist or a naturist. I just consider myself a person who sometimes is clothes free, likes to, a woman in particular, like to have no bra, like to walk around topless in my home. But when I go in the community, I'm fully clothed. However, if somebody invites me to a naked pool party, I'm there and I'm naked within seconds. So there are people who adopt it that way too. The clothes free thing is great when they feel they want to do it, but they're not necessarily like you and I. I think you're wired the same way. If I have to go out in the community with clothes on, I can't wait to get home to take them off. They're not necessarily wired that way. It's like, well, I have clothes on. Now I'm home. It'll take 5 seconds to take them off, but why? I'll just keep them on. And they're just wired a little differently. But again, they have no problem being naked in the right situation. Does that make sense, or have you seen that before?
Yeah, I certainly have. And, last year I attended Kiwi Burn, a regional burn under the Burning Man umbrella, being there through the event. And day to day, people were walking around the paddock and they were wearing clothes. There was no issues. Obviously, there were a few people that didn't, me included. But there were also, when they have the big burn, 2,000 people strip down and run around the fire,
Yeah. Yeah.
They probably don't consider themselves naturists or nudists or have any sort of tag, but they enjoyed the freedom that they had without the clothes. And, there's a lot of that. And on the back of that, there's people like yourself and me. There's an old saying, well, that I've recently heard, which is, what's the fastest movement in history? And that movement is a naturist removing their clothes when they arrive at the resort.
That's true. That is extremely true. And a lot of people even remove them as they're pulling in. You get through the gate and now you're driving to the parking lot and your shirt's already off, coming off, and your pants are undone. And so when you park your car, you get out of the car and it's really just your pants and maybe underwear you remove. And then you're naked within 5-10 seconds. Yeah, we crave that. And I'm wired, if I find something that I like, I crave more and more of it. Now, you have to be careful because, I might crave candy bars. Well, I shouldn't be having a whole bunch of those. But, you put on weight and bad for your health and so on. But I crave being clothes free. I just love the feeling of it and the no restrictions on my body. When I move. Clothes don't hold me back. And so I crave that. But apparently not everybody does. But in the right setting, hey, my clothes are off in 2 seconds, just like yours, Boris, or just like yours, Frank. So I thought that was unusual, but at the same time, if that's what they want, that's what they do. It's not for us to say anything about that either way. I just thought it was different. And is it mostly with the younger crowd you're seeing it, or not necessarily?
To be honest, it's right across the board. And one of the reasons why I wrote the last book about being bold is about the overcoming the fear and, recognizing what holds you back.
All right. Well, very good. We are talking to Boris Naturi this morning. That's Naturist without the ST, Boris Naturi. You can find him at borisnaturi.com and his Naturist website with links, naturistlinks.org. Well, let's talk about your books now. You've written, as we mentioned earlier, 15 titles: Finding Freedom, Living Freedom Naturally, The Naked Human, and go on forever. What have you, first of all, found through writing books and some of the feedback you've gotten?
The feedback's been positive. The first one I wrote was Go Get Naked. It was just an exercise in putting some thoughts down on the digital media so that they were out of my head, and sharing my love of getting released from my clothes, I guess, getting out of that barrier. And it just sort of escalated from there. And, I just got into I guess, a chain of one idea keep coming after another. And before you know it, I'm sitting back looking like, wow, how did I get here?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have that book in front of me online, Go Get Naked, An Introduction to Naturism. And you say at its core, naturism is about freedom. It's about stepping away from the layers we wear every day, clothes, expectations, roles, insecurities, and experiencing life in a simpler, more authentic way. There's that word again, authentic. It's not about looking a certain way or fitting into an exclusive club. That's great. That's a perfect description of it. Now, the cover for this book has two naked people from behind walking into what appears to be the ocean, could be a lake, I'm not sure. Any problem with Amazon having covers with naked people on them?
It wasn't a problem so much with Amazon. I did have problems with some of the other media sources,
Oh,
and I ended up deciding to stick with Amazon. Obviously, there is a rating system with Amazon, and this book, because it does contain nudity inside, has been obviously rated according to those guidelines.
oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, it's good that Amazon has no problem with that. You wrote a book, which I laughed when I first saw it, and I thought, well, that might be more to cover here than uncover, I guess, lack of a better term. Answering the Door Naked, a fun look at being seen for who you really are. What is that all about?
Well, it's about the trepidation. It's like, what would happen if one day I open the door naked,
Yeah.
and, not knowing what's on the other side, what the likely outcomes are. And one of those likely outcomes is the person says, "Hey, mind if I come in and join you?"
Yeah.
So I guess the readers are going to have to drill down onto that one themselves and see where that story goes. But I just had that question one day, and I thought, well, I've got to follow it on and just see where the natural conclusion takes me.
Yeah. Now, of course, we don't suggest or advocate or promote that. And that's a great way to get in trouble, at least in the USA. You open the door naked and there's a police officer waiting for you to just tell you your car door is open and trying to protect the safety of your car. And there you are, fully naked. I don't necessarily, well, I guess we would have problems here in the USA. That should not be illegal, though. You're in your own home. You haven't gone outside. Somebody came to your door. Now they're on your property. You should be able to be naked as a jaybird, 25/8, as I like to say. But answering the door nude would get you in trouble in the USA if reported. Now, there are some people, obviously, would have no problem with it. What about in New Zealand? You answer the door naked. Are you in trouble? It's your own home. How does that work?
Well, in theory, there's nothing illegal happening.
Right.
You're not committing an act of that's intending to, upset anyone. You're just being yourself. I can imagine in America, the old HOA would have something to say about that. The fines will start rolling in.
Yeah.
No, as I said to you before, it's like a comedic approach of, the what if. You don't have the peephole in the door. You don't know what's in the other side. It could be good, could be bad. The trepidation is there. But in New Zealand, as I say, you can do that. There's no reason why not. If it's a pizza guy, well, you never know what the outcome's going to be. They might just drop the pizza and run.
Or I could make a bunch of jokes about that, but I don't want to get away from the topic here. But yeah, and I had this one woman. I stayed briefly in a condo. I was doing some consulting work out of town, so I had to rent this condo. And of course, I'm nude in the condo, 25/8, as I like to say. And she filed a complaint with the condo association that I was walking around nude in my condo. It's like, well, yes, I am, but there's no way she would have known that unless she were at my window peering in, like trying to see. Because if you're even 5 feet away from my window, you can't see in. It's the kind of glass they had. And so to see in, you'd have to pretty much put your eyes up against the window to look in. And so, when they came to talk to me, I said, no, folks, she's technically the one who broke the law here. She would not have known if I had a 3-piece suit on or naked had she not pressed her eyes against the window. And there are what we call peeping Tom laws here, even though she was a woman. You just can't do that. And they said, yeah, you're right, but she's the type of woman who will make this a big issue. And next time she'll probably call the police, and then we're off for the races. And yeah, you didn't do anything illegal, but you really want to deal with that. And I thought, well, that is about the epitome of unfairness that I've ever heard before. In my own place, with windows you cannot see in unless you put your eyes against the window, and I have to change because of that. Does that make any sense at all?
Absolutely not. I
No.
mean, in my backyard, there are other properties that can see into my backyard.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the backyard and I'm walking around and I don't have any clothes on and somebody makes a complaint, my response to that is, well, if you didn't like what you see, put your binoculars away.
I need to use that answer. In a home I owned for 20 plus years, I would lie out in the sun nude, and there would be neighbors around, not on top of me. There was separation between properties, but they could still see. And there were a couple of women in particular who would always come toward my property and sometimes on my property to talk to me. So for most people, I think it's not an issue. They knew me. It's like, oh, he's just out there enjoying the sun. It's not like I'm out there dancing and having a wild free for all. And so when people see it that way, they accept it as normal and natural. It's when people do untoward things and make it, hey, I'm naked and I'm want you to see because I'm doing wild and sexual things here. To me, that's when it becomes a problem, and I think to a lot of other people as well. I'm guessing you've seen the same thing. Most people really don't have a problem, especially if you're in your backyard just relaxing.
Yeah, again, it's a gatekeeper scenario where somebody sees you and then they come and talk to you and say, "Well, I'm worried that you'll offend somebody else." That seems to be a common sort of occurrence. But again, in New Zealand, you're in your own backyard, and you're allowed to be naked in your own backyard. If you did, as you say, commit some sort of sexual act, then you're bringing on the police. They will come out and see you, and you can expect to be given a fine or something even stronger.
Yeah, so you want to be careful about that. And what I tell people, no matter what it is, whether it's being nude or how you drive your car, whatever, even if you're in the right and even if you're totally legally correct, if the police show up, it could really ruin your day in maybe a few weeks or a few months or a few years going through litigation. And eventually you'll be found innocent and let off and whatever. But do you really want to mess up your day? And I don't. One of the things we have near the southern border of the USA is they have checkpoints along the way to look for people who are traveling through who are not citizens and shouldn't be here. And this one guy who is a USA citizen, born and raised in the USA, was driving through and got stopped. Well, we all get stopped. It's a check booth. And they asked him a bunch of questions. And he said, I told them that's none of your business. Like they'll ask a question, where were you born? That's none of your business. Where do you live? That's none of your business. And they gave him a rough go verbally and kind of gave him a warning. And he told me the story. And I said, why would you do that? I said, they have the power and legal authority to totally ruin your day. They have the power and authority to totally strip your car and take everything off, all of the doors, all of the seats out, and not put it back together. You'll have to put it back together or hire someone to do it. Why do you want to go through the mess? So a lot of times I've adopted that myself. Yeah, I'd love to walk down Main Street nude, but then I'll be dealing with a mess, so I don't do it. Is that good advice, or do you recommend pushing the envelope a little bit?
Well, I think that's a two-sided coin there because I think society in general needs that envelope pushed, but I think it's our own protection and our own personal fears, I guess, that stop us from pushing that envelope. And, if you're in a society that has rules and laws that come down heavily on that sort of behavior, then obviously you want to make sure that you're trying to walk the party line as much as possible. And at the same time, work on those organizations that create the rules and, start to push back a little bit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Talking about answering the door naked, it made me think of there have been more than a few times in my life where I'm at a hotel and the maid suddenly walks in, doesn't knock, doesn't say hello, anybody here, just bam, I'm in the room, clothes free, bam, there's a maid or whatever. And no harm, no foul on that one. And sometimes I wonder if some of these people do that on purpose, like, hey, I might see a naked guy if I just burst in. I don't know, but that's happened before. And same things with restrooms and locker rooms. Women have actually walked in before. Now, that's not me, trying to show off how naked I am. That's people coming in on me. To me, they ought to be in trouble for that. But, they never were. I mean, I never complained about it. It's not, accidents happen, assuming they were accidents. So this whole thing about, oh my goodness, there's a naked body, let's call the police right away. To me, that's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Assuming someone is just naked for all the right reasons. We talk about clothes-free living for all the right reasons. And if you're doing that and somebody calls the police, like, well, you should probably just move out of town and pretend you ever met me. How about that for some advice?
The whole concept of being afraid of seeing a naked person, it astounds me. Yes, we might, take a second glance and say, "Oh, well, that person's naked," but something happened, in fact, just over this past weekend, where one of the cleaners at at the place that I was staying, the Naturist Park, walked across the grass, and I did do a double take because she was wearing clothes.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. That's great. I like to hear those stories.
I mean, there is a flip side, and we shouldn't be afraid. I mean, seeing a naked person, I don't think has ever given anyone a heart attack, I don't think just the mere sight of a naked person has ever killed anyone. So I just don't know, or I just don't understand the society's paranoia and the overpowering response that it generates.
And it does with some sectors. If you're naked, that means you're up to something really bad in their minds. Like, well, no, not at all. And if you knew me, you would know that. And if they knew you, they would know that as well. We just enjoy clothes-free living for all the right reasons without being foolish about it, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, in your own mind, what would you prefer to see walking down the road? A naked person or a person carrying a gun? Hey, I'm with a naked person every day.
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah. And in open carry cities or states or counties around here, that's not even reported. You see somebody with a gun, you don't even report it because, oh, it's legal to do that in some jurisdictions. But a naked body, people will report that right away. You got a gun, no problem. Oh, you're naked. Okay, I'm calling the police. Makes no sense at all. Well, what are you looking to accomplish with your books? You have 15 of them on Amazon right now. I'm guessing there will be more, but I'll ask you that question in a minute, just to give people an overview of what naturism is all about and that it's normal and natural. Is that the overall goal?
Well, there's a number of different topics which I cover. Some of them, obviously, they've got the naturist sort of underlying tone, or they're all looking at different topics, such as the not safe for work one, which is actually safe for work, of course. It talks about how the porn industry is a massive industry, and yet naturism is effectively criminalized when it comes to censorship and things like that. Then you've got books about why don't we share, social media is blocking us. Why don't we as naturists share stuff because it seems like we're afraid to tell others. Those sort of things. They're all going to be very topical, but they've all got different messages. And one of my big sort of issues that I have is in regards to the textile industry and how much pollution that it's causing in the world and how much damage it's doing into our environment, and how much wastage there is in that whole process.
Well, that's true. And you add in the water and the soap and all the stuff that we use to wash these clothes. There's some memes out there. We've even posted some along the way. Be a nudist, you'll save money, you'll save the ecology, the economy, and so on and so forth. And very true. You just get rid of all of that stuff, and that's probably the way to go. So the question now is, you have more books in the pipeline, more you're thinking about? How do you stand on that?
There's definitely a few more topics that I want to cover before I'm done, and I guess they're going to be along the same lines of a what if, that asking that question of what if you let go, and what's the worst that can happen, sort of thing.
It looks like on the Amazon page, all of your books are Kindle edition only, no hard copies. Is that true?
I've actually started to put out a few which are paperback.
Ooh, okay.
The latest one obviously is paperback, but that's mainly because the books themselves, they're not long reads. I try and get as much content as I can and within the covers, and some of them actually can't be published as paperbacks due to the page restrictions. Um, but again, I'm looking at that as well as time goes on and new editions come up.
Okay. When you say page restriction, is there a minimum number of pages before they'll let you do a hard copy or of a book?
There is, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you know what that is offhand?
Not off the top of my head, no, sorry.
Okay. But they'll let you know if you submit it. Hey, I want this, published in, I say, hardcover or hard copy, which could be hardcover or soft cover. I just call it hard copy. But if you submit it, and they'll send you a message, no, not enough pages. Sorry, Kindle only. Is that how that works?
Yeah, they won't even allow you to submit it. It'll go so far, and then the handbrake will come on.
Okay. Well, at least you know you can add a few more pages, right, and get this out there the way you want.
It's just telling me I need to up my content level.
There you go. So your first book was Go Get Naked. That was your first book, right?
That was the first one, yeah.
And what's your most recent, the 15th one so far?
So that will be I can't even remember the title. How about that?
Yeah.
No, it's called I Should Be So Bold.
Okay.
And the subtitle is Does Your Mind Override Your Desire for Freedom?
And what's the answer to that question as you go through the book? Or can you tell us? Or do you want people to read it?
Well, you'll have to read the book to find out. No, it starts to ask the question about why do you see in others something that you want to do yourself? What's holding you back? And then it takes you through the steps of how can I start to go down the same pathway, sort of thing.
That makes sense. Now, I'm looking at one book here before we wrap up, Censored Flesh, Reclaiming the Human Body from Fear and Control. And you start off by saying, in a world where ideas, images, and even the human body itself can be deemed offensive, which just blows me away. The human body is often deemed to be offensive. That is true. The boundaries of censorship are expanding at an alarming pace. This book challenges you to confront the absurdity of a society that polices thought expression in the natural human form, often under the guise of morality or safety. I couldn't agree with you more.
That came out on the back of recent changes to Facebook algorithms, which have actually been cutting off so many naturist accounts and, effectively blocking people from being on social media because they're being themselves. And, I myself was a target and had a YouTube channel struck down as well because I was authentic. I was just, in fact, in America, you'd say it's censoring the media by blocking channels, effectively stopping somebody from promoting, or not even promoting, just providing articles on, like, for example, the World Naked Bike Ride or naked hikes or things like that. And that book is a little bit of a dig at those social media channels or video content channels, and to say, hey guys, you need to relook at your policies because we're just people.
Yeah, that's very true. And some of the things they do allow, as other people have pointed out, violence, killing, shooting, blood everywhere. Oh, that's okay. That's no problem at all. You can even let your 5-year-old see that in the world of media. But a naked body, oh my gosh, we got to ban that right away unless the world end today, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of burning books. And, we all know where that sort of behavior leads. It sort of starts to put the blinkers on the society and drives it down pathways where you really don't want to be. And, this is one of the basic freedoms, the freedom to be able to speak and, speak up, tell your story, and let others hear that story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of hatred out there too on social media, especially when it comes to politics, which we never discuss on the show. But one person from one side will say, well, if you believe this, you're a blankety blank and a so and so, and the other person will say, oh yeah, well, you're a blankety blank and a so and so times 10. and then just go back and forth, shooting at each other verbally, making fun of each other, calling each other names. Well, that's totally allowed, right? But the naked body, I got to be careful there, because that could be serious. Makes no sense. And that's why I'm really glad you're out there promoting all this. In all that you do, we've been talking to BORIS NATURI. That's Naturist without the ST at the end. You can find him at borisnaturi.com. You can find him at naturistlinks.org. All 15 books are on Amazon. All links are in the show notes. And Boris, when do you anticipate your next book to hit the market?
I'm working on something at the moment, but it's going to probably be about 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, that's right around the corner. That's very good. Again, talking to BORIS NATURI, fabulous information, Boris, on naturism, nudism, clothes-free living, your books, your website, your links site. You're doing great work out there. Keep on doing what you're doing. Let us know how we can help you as you get new books out, and let us know. We'll promote those as well. And in the meantime, Boris, go out there and have a great clothes-free day. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Frank, and you too. Have a great day.
Thank you. The terrific Boris NATURI. You can find the links in the show notes today. Author, blogger, podcaster, doing a great job in the world of naturism. And we thank BORIS NATURI for all of his time on these last 2 Saturday shows. And on the next 2 Saturday shows, which will be episodes 189 and 191, we will feature naturism author, also the president of AANR Southwest, Dan Hawkins. And before we head for the hills until Wednesday's show, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
Well, it's good to be back, and I wasn't gone for very long, so, but it was a great interview.
Yeah, I really enjoyed speaking to an actual content creator. He doesn't use AI. He doesn't, he writes books. He has a whole bunch of books out there. He does a blog. He does a podcast. The genuine article who works his tail off. And we'll have part 2 of his interview on next week's show. And as you already mentioned, you appreciate him very much as well.
I do. And in fact, in our newsletter that we send to Patreon members, we do a little book corner, like the book cow, I think is what we call it. And I realized that he writes books. So one of his books, his newest book, will be highlighted in our newsletter this coming month.
Very good. Very good. And he has a good voice, too. He has a good voice for radio. So everything played into it very well. He did a terrific job. And obviously, we appreciate him.
Yeah, I love to hear that Kiwi accent. So it was just great. So enjoyed him very much.
And you'll be here on Wednesday for episode 188.
I certainly will be.
All right. We'll rock and roll a little more on that day. Well, Lisa Monroe, until next Wednesday, if you promise to stay as naked as you are right now, we'll have you in for 188. Is that a deal?
That's a deal. And I certainly hope you don't have as much trash from your yard that you have to carry around so that you can be naked more often, okay?
All right. We'll see you Wednesday.
All right. Bye.
Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 187 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.